Previously on the Most Courageous 201,718 NFL season predictions, I made predictions for the 16 NFC teams. Next up, the AFC and playoffs predictions. And now the conclusion to the Most Courageous 201,718 NFL season predictions. AFC EASTBUFFALO Bill. See if you can figure out the Bills' front office plan. Send a resume into ESPN or FS1 because even the NFL insider experts are at a loss for words. They clearly want to rebuild, but they're doing it very oddly by getting rid of their young talented players. Sammy Watkins are letting them walk. Mike Gillislee, Stephon Gilmore. It's a weird strategy for tanking. Their treatment of Tyrod Taylor didn't make sense either. Taylor has his flaws but he's still a serviceable QB, but the Bills were simultaneously trying to push him out the door and keep him from going during the offseason. Prediction 412 miss the playoffs. They have a dumb trade in them before the deadline. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 4. It's a disaster behind Taylor. Miami Dolphins consider me in the minority, but bringing Jay Cutler out of retirement was a smart move. Even though he turns the ball over more than you'd like, he's an upgrade over Ryan Tannehill. Cutler will take advantage of their big receiving targets like Devontae Parker. The offense should be better than last season, and is it just me? Is Cutler actually enjoying himself in Miami? I've never seen the guy smile this much in his whole career. The Fins' defense is solid and Adam Gase is a legitimately good coach. They're going to have another good season, and barring any crippling injuries, the playoffs are within reach. Prediction 106 make the playoffs as the number 5 seed. Seriously, Cutler looks happy in Miami. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 0. Cutler was the best available QB, and Matt Moore is one of the better backups in the league. Plus, even though Fins owner Stephen Ross thought about signing Kaepernick's glowing remarks about Castro probably wouldn't sit well with the Miami fanbase. New England Patriots. It's the end of a dynasty, but it's week 1. The power in the East is dead, but it's week 1. A new era is dawning, but it's week 1. The Chiefs' win Thursday night was impressive, but last I checked it's still September, and the games that count the most are played in January and February. I'm sure it was quite delightful for the Patriots out there to watch New England get smashed, but those tears of joy will turn to tears of sadness in January when the Pats make it to yet another Super Bowl. The Pats won't be dead until Bill Belichick retires or is actually dead. Prediction 133 wins the AFC East. Number 1 seed in the playoffs will be the best team in the AFC by week 12. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 5. They have the best QB situation in the league. The GOAT is the starter and future star waiting in the wings. New York Jets. They're going to stink, and Todd Bowles will be unfairly fired at the end of the season. Moving on. Prediction 214 best case scenario they get the number 1 overall draft pick. Worst case they win more games than they should and get the 5th pick. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 8, but what does it matter? They're not going anywhere this season. AFC NORTHBALTIMORE Ravens. To deflate gay curse lives the Ravens, along with the Colts, snitched out the Pats during the 2014 playoffs, and neither has made the playoffs since. In fact, neither has posted a winning record, and it's going to continue with another losing season in 2017. Prediction 610 missed the playoffs. They need to figure out a way to rid themselves of this curse. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 2. They could use Kaepernick, but I totally understand them wanting to pass after Kaepernick's girlfriend's tweet. I doubt they had the papers ready like Ray Lewis said, but I get why Ravens owner Steve Bisciotti would want to scrap signing him. Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals should be better than last season, but then again they're the Bengals, so what does that really mean? A playoff berth paired with a quick exit. They're stuck in this hell of being a playoff team, yet aren't a serious contender. Prediction 97 missed the playoffs. Bengals owner Mike Brown brings everyone back for another season of just good enough. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 1. Not impressed by A.J. McCarron. Cleveland Browns. The Browns will be better this season. That is a guarantee. They'll still have a losing record, but they will be better. While we all laugh that they have to pay Brock Osweiler $16 million for not being on the roster, it was a smart trade. If you're a rebuilding team, you should take on bad contracts for draft picks. You're rebuilding, you're not going anywhere, so you might as well load up picks anyway you can. Prediction 511 missed the playoffs. Kizzer is surprisingly decent. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 0. I actually like Cody Kessler. Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers are going to be scary good on offense once again, and with Martavis Bryant back, that's another big play waiting to happen. I am a tad worried about Le'Veon Bell missing time during his holdout, but he did jump right into it and was great last season after his suspension. Picking up Joe Hayden will be huge too for this defense that has been porous the past few seasons. Prediction: 115 wins. AFC North make the playoffs as the number 3 seed. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 1. We've seen enough of Landry Jones to know he isn't good. AFC Southhouston Texans to AFC South is a dumpster fire. None of these teams is among the top 8 of teams in the AFC. But someone has to win this putrid division, and the Texans are in the best position to do so. They have the better defense and their offense is somewhat competent. I like Deshaun Watson, but he doesn't seem quite ready to be a starter just yet. I'm afraid that because Tom Savage is going to be awful, that the Texans will rush Watson into action. He'll develop bad habits and be out of the league in a few years. I'm also a smidge worried about JJ Watt. He's healthy, but back injuries tend to linger longer than expected. I'm sure he'll power through it and be the monster he's always been, but it's something to keep an eye on this season. Prediction: 88 wins. AFC South enters playoffs as number 4 seed, easily the worst team in the playoffs. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 3. Savage is terrible and Watson is a season away from becoming a starter. The Texans would be more threatening with Kaepernick under center. Indianapolis Colts. The AFC South has a new bottom dweller. The Colts have disaster written all over them this year. They have no idea when franchise QB Andrew Luck will return, and they've been devastated by the terrible draft picks and free agent signings during the GM Ryan Grigson era. My favorite NFL offseason story involved Grigson and head coach Chuck Pagano. The tension between the two men was well known. Neither cared for one another and both blamed the other for the team's failure the past 2 seasons. Where the good part comes in is what Colts owner Jim Irsay did. He tried to repair this tattered relationship by sending the two men to group counseling with a psychologist hired by the team. Long story short, it didn't work and Irsay fired Grigson. I love that story so much I wish I could wipe it from my memory every day just so I can reread it to experience the initial joy and laughter all over again from now until my final day on this rock. Prediction: 313 miss the playoffs. They rush Luck back only for him to get hurt again, and Pagano is canned in Week 10. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 5. The season is lost with Scott Holtzian. Kaepernick could have kept things afloat until Luck's return, whenever that will be. Jacksonville Jaguars. This offseason has been a weird one for my favorite team. We added some fun and exciting pieces like Calais Campbell, Barry Church and Leonard Fournette, but there's still an albatross under center. After working super-duper hard in the offseason, Blake Bortles has little to show for it. He was atrocious in training camp and the preseason and still given the starting job. It doesn't make sense unless Tom Coughlin and the crew are trying to tank this season. Hang with me. The Jags' defense is going to be among the top 5 defenses this season that is capable of winning games on their own. But there isn't a reliable QB on offense to make them a serious playoff contender. The 2017 drafting free agent market didn't have that QB of the future, although Kaepernick would have been a good filler for the next few seasons, to Coughlin's liking. However, the 2018 draft has some promising prospects, and getting another high draft pick can finally land the Jags that franchise QB they've missed since Mark Brunell. But the defense is too good to tank. So how do you go counter that? You start Blake Bortles. The man has more career pick success that wins. It's a foolproof plan. This might sound like the delusional wishful thinking of a Jags fan, but it's the only reason you start Blake Bortles after all that you've seen the past 2 months. Prediction: 412 miss playoffs. Nervously chanting, it's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. It's all part of the plan. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed infinity. Is there a number more than infinite? Tennessee Titans. The Titans' love is a bit much for a team that was quite average last season. In a must-win game against last season, they got rolled by the Jags. Marcus Mariota did leave with a broken leg halfway through, but he wasn't playing well before that. Prediction: 79 missed the playoffs. Looking for a new coach in the offseason. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 2. Matt Castle's agent is the real MVP. AFC West Broncos. Before their final preseason moves, I was all in on the Broncos and a bounce-back season. Now I'm not so sure. Their big move of letting TJ Ward go to sign Brock Osweiler was odd. It smells like Elway and company are laying the foundation for a secret tanking season, in case things go south. While Trevor Siemian is the starter, it could be the Bottas effect, but I think Siemian is a solid QB. I don't believe Elway has much faith in him or Paxton Lynch. Why else would he bring in Osweiler other than to lock up a high draft pick? The defense is still scary good and will probably keep Elway from bashing in the emergency tanking glass, but this team still feels like they're going to fall short this season. Prediction 88, miss the playoffs. The Broncos will stay in contention for most of the year, but a late-season collapse causes them to miss the playoffs. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 10. With this defense behind him, Kaepernick would work out just fine in Denver. Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs looked good Thursday night. It took a while for the defense to get going, and I could have sworn someone slipped some psychedelic mushrooms in my drink because Alex Smith threw further than 8 yards. Twice while they put the beat down on the defending champs. I'm not ready to crown them best in the AFC, because it is September. They'll be good this season, but they do have one of the tougher schedules. The AFC West is the best division in football and Alex Smith is still their QB. One game doesn't erase an entire career built on checkdowns. That said, they'll still win 10+ games this season and get enough people to buy into them before they lay an egg in the playoffs. Prediction 124 wins AFC West, number 3 seed in the playoffs, lose another disappointing playoff game to the Steelers. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 0. Patrick Mahomes is going to be awesome next season. LSEHARGERS. ESPN's Bill Barnwell always does a terrific column on teams expected to improve and decline for the upcoming season. In it, one of the main stats he uses for his case for each team is their record in close games, games decided by 7 points or less. Because whether you had a crazy high or low record, teams typically tend to fall back to the average. For the Chargers last season, they had rotten luck. They were 18 in close games, blew 5 halftime leads and 4 games of which came during the 12-minute warning. Plus, their roster looked like a mash unit. This year will be a better season for the Chargers. They're healthy, for the most part, and they're going to win more of those close games. That's why I'm calling it now. The Chargers will make the AFC playoffs as a number 6 seed, dinky stadium and all. Prediction 97, shock the NFL world by making the playoffs. Really wish they were good enough to host an NFL playoff game, it would be hilarious. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 1. Not sure how Cardale Jones' progression is coming along. Oakland Raiders. This might not be as unpopular an opinion considering we live in Broncos territory, but the Raiders are overrated this season. They're the sexy dark horse pick to make it to the Super Bowl, but they reek of disappointment this season. They'll still have a winning record this year, yet they're going to miss the playoffs. Their record in close games decided by 7 points or less in 2017 was 81. That's not going to hold, and they'll lose more close games this season, probably due to their defense. Prediction 97, miss the playoffs. Broncos fans rejoice. Number of Kaepernick kneels needed 2. We all saw what happened during last year's playoffs. Playoff PREDICTIONS. NFC wildcard Vikings over Eagles, Bucks over Panthers, AFC wildcard Steelers over Chargers, Miami over Houston, NFC divisional Seahawks over Vikings, Packers over BUCS, AFC divisional Patriots over Miami, Steelers over Chiefs, NFC championship Seahawks over Packers, AFC championship Patriots over Steelers, Super Bowl Seahawks over Patriots.